My job as a food delivery person, it's one wild ride. I've been doing food delivery service since December 2021 when I got fired from my cosmetology job at Sports Clips in Nacogdoches, Texas for being too slow and not being able to keep up physically. I love doing hair, but I just ain't able to do it physically, and I miss doing hair, but I just couldn't physically do it, and I still keep my cosmetology license active. But anyway, I've been able to do food delivery services with DoorDash and Uber Eats since then, and it's now closing in 2025. That's 5 years. I've kept a steady part-time job, and I've had a couple of different jobs since then, 2 or 3 jobs, but they've never lasted, but the food delivery has. It helps keep money coming in. The ups of it is that I always have a job as long as my car holds out, which my car's pretty old and it's kind of worn, and I still keep trucking, and I just hope I can keep on keeping on and find it interesting that I've been able to manage with it, and I'm grateful for the job, and especially in a small town to be able to have that opportunity and have that income coming in and not have to worry as much. And doing DoorDash and Uber Eats is always an adventure. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. Knowing how to handle customers and how to deal with them professionally and respectfully has been a steep learning curve, but very beneficial. It's helped me work on my people skills, which I don't always have because I'm very private, and a lot of times I can be very introverted, which doesn't work in my favor a lot of times. And it's a steep learning curve. But anyway, I digress on that side. But being able to figure out how to work out issues and problems that arise with like the maps, and figuring out how to get to a place where my phone malfunctions and get the food delivered properly. And sometimes I have to wait for the orders for like 10, 20, even sometimes 45 minutes at a time, which is frustrating. And by the time you get that order delivered, it's slow again, so you're just sitting there waiting. You gotta call it a day for a while, go to the house and wait for it to get busy again, which is also frustrating. So I usually switch between Uber Eats and DoorDash. I started with DoorDash and added Uber Eats so that I could go between the two. And if I had a reliable vehicle, I'd probably add Lyft as well, just to add extra gig work, if I'm being completely honest. It would really help to do those part-time jobs to keep revenue coming in. I remember doing one order on a night shift. I had done this order 3 or 4 times before, run down neighborhood. Not the greatest, but never had any issues or any bad feelings. But I remember dropping it off this 4th time. I just got this distinct feeling of being watched. The hairs on my neck raised, and I couldn't see anybody, but I got creeped out. So I dropped off the food, took the picture of the order, pushed deliver, and lit up out there like a tumbleweed. The night shifts that I work are pretty interesting with DoorDash and Uber Eats. I've had relatively okay experiences and made some really good money, but you got to be careful, and I've even bought pepper spray to have just in case. It's just a safety precaution. I remember when I was doing one delivery during the day, I hit a pothole and tore my car up and had to get help just to get it fixed, and had to rely on others to get help to get it fixed. I felt so stupid and worthless, but it got fixed and I was able to keep on working. And it's the unexpected things and that you have to plan for, and even then stuff happens and the money can really pile up some. Taking the crappy orders is something you gotta do a lot of times just to get a few really good orders that pay well. I just wish they would pay better altogether in general with these apps for gig work. Not just DoorDash and Uber Eats, but with all of them. I wish they would actually pay a lot better and have more stability about it, and just have more organization and have like actual stores you can go to, like when you need customer service help instead of just a number on a phone. I miss being able to go to an actual location sometimes with working. I just wish there was that side of it. But on the upside, you are your own boss and you do the third party thing and you get to control your own hours and not have to be set in stone. And if stuff comes up like medical issues, you don't have to worry about being fired, which is good. That's a plus. It's just dealing with like people that don't want to tip, and you get like 22 miles for like $3, which is not worth it. And then these apps like to like give you bad ratings because you don't want to take that, and some people just take them because I guess they feel they have to, and sometimes you do, but sometimes I let my ratings drop just to not take those really bad orders. It's just not worth it. And I usually try not to go 10 miles out further than I have to, because keep the miles low and the pay high, or at least try to make it even worth doing, so that you don't like bleed your gas and do even more wear and tear on your vehicle, which is definitely a thing with this job. And my biggest pet peeve with making the phone calls is having to deal with the automated responses before you get to an actual person. It's so hard to get to an actual customer service representative that can actually talk to you and talk you through certain situations with the app, and when the apps glitch out and mess up and you're trying to figure out how to get to the customer and the app's glitching out. And I've had my fair share of freak out moments, I ain't gonna lie. I've had moments where I've just sat there and cried because I'm trying to deliver the order and the app malfunctions and glitches out, and I'm calling the customer service and they're like, oh, just go ahead and deliver. Well, I can't deliver unless you fix the app, and I've got their food and I need to get it to them. And then the customer's calling your phone because that part's still working, of course. And I'm, of course, in panic mode, trying not to cry. And it's been one heck of an adventure on that side of things. Let's see. The shopping orders. Oh, let's talk about that. Having to go in there and do the shopping and get all these different items, and having to do replacements and have to wait on the customer. Sometimes you gotta wait like 10-15 minutes just for them to respond, and then they text you with an attitude like, where are you at? Well, I'm still trying to get your order. Once you actually respond to your phone, instead of just letting me sit there on wait. It's like, really? And let's talk about the multiple orders these apps slam you with. And DoorDash and Uber Eats are just as bad. They'll slam you with 3 or 4 orders, wanting you to pick up all these orders, and then these customers get rightfully agitated because their food's getting cold, which I would too. And it's just like, well, I'm so sorry, but... And then it's just like, I'm sorry. And that can affect your ratings, and it's like, oh, here we go. And when you're having to pick up food, you always have to make sure to get the drinks, and sometimes I forgot that, and that affects your ratings. And it's like, oh, it's been, like I said, it's been one heck of a ratings curve and learning curve and everything in between. On the Uber Eats side, I don't like how they hold some of your payment. When you complete the order, they'll hold some of it back for like sometimes up to an hour before you get it. I think that's very shady, because like you've literally delivered the order and provided confirmation in the form of photos and the pin that you get from the customer, and or sometimes both. I just don't understand why Uber Eats does that. It's very frustrating and concerning to me, but overall, though, I do tend to get better orders usually with Uber Eats, as long as I keep some of my ratings up, especially with the delivery. So they do tend to send higher paid jobs sometimes. Not as good sometimes, but it seems to be a little bit better. Excuse me. Unlike with DoorDash, you can have the highest ratings and still sometimes they try to, no, not sometimes, but a lot of times they still slip you these backwards and upside down orders where the miles are 20 and 30 miles, and then you're getting paid $5, $6
dollars, sometimes $10 for these miles, and that's just one way, just one way. And they want you to take it, or they'll drop your ratings, and it's like, really, DoorDash, do better. Like, have a base pay for these apps, just a base pay of $8 to $10 that you're going to get from the jump, and then actually provide the tip that the customer gives. And it's so telling and sad when the customers have to ask you if you get your tips, and it's so, as a delivery driver, it's so humiliating to have to be like, yeah, I get my orders and I get the tips usually, and it's just, I never know what to say other than, yeah, I usually get the tips. But it makes me nervous because how much is these apps and corporations really hiding? Especially when you hear about all the scammers. Oh, that makes me nervous. I've been scammed a couple times with this, and then you'll go into the store to get the order, and other like 2 or 3, even up to 4 other DoorDashers and Uber Eats drivers have been there to get this order, but yet they're sending you get the order, and you're like, what the actual heck? Like, how are you not knowing this, guys? Like, how? And don't tell me it's just an algorithm thing. Like, come on. They program these algorithms specifically, and you're telling me they don't know about that? Please, do better, gig work. Do better. Like, come on. This is our job that, no matter if it's your full-time job or a side hustle, you're relying on this to make extra money, to get out there and hustle, to get out there and do the job, and it feels like we're getting screwed as the third party, and we're trying so hard to make some money, to keep an income coming in, to pay bills and pay it for extra. I think that places that have 4 and 5 walk-up stories, I think they should have a certain set amount that you get as a base pay, plus demanding that the gratuity be included in that, because nobody wants to walk up 5 and 6 flights of stairs, even 3 or 4, just for a couple of dollars to deliver food. I mean, yeah, we got to do it sometimes, but like, that's a lot of effort just to get you an order for a couple of bucks, and then risk getting low ratings because it took you a minute to get there, and then have the customer complain when they get to sit there in their apartment and have their food quite literally brought to them, handed to them, and they're complaining because it took you a minute to get there. Like, really? Now, if you're disabled or something, maybe, but like, a lot of these are college students, because I live in a college town, and they're always, are you on your way? What's taking so long? I guess you just don't want to bring the food. Like, no, I'm waiting for the order at the restaurant for 10, 15, 20 minutes sometimes, and then you got to get there, and then you got to hike up these flights of stairs just to deliver to them, and then have them fuss at you because you took so long. It's like, dude, really? Think about what you're asking. And then you don't want to tip because you think, oh, you get paid by the company. Nah, listen, we get a base pay of $2 or $3 from all these companies. That's being generous. A lot of times we get a lot of our money from customer tips. And I'm very grateful for the tips. And that's the one thing I like about Uber Eats, is they allow you to send a thank you to the customer for the tips. And I always use that as a way to show appreciation for the tips that I get, because that helps pay bills and expenses like gas, and if I need an oil change, you can save up and other stuff like that. I wish DoorDash had that side of it, where you could send thanks to the customers. Maybe that would actually help improve the DoorDash side with people actually tipping better, because I notice a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times on the Uber Eats side, they tend to tip a little bit better, even when it's not that great of an experience, because you're allowed to send thanks and show appreciation for the tips, which I think does help, in my opinion, because I can send that thanks to the customer of my appreciation for getting that tip to help me get money, which is always appreciated to me because I've worked for tips. I've been a hairdresser, I've been a waitress, so I know what it's like to work for tips, and that does definitely come in clutch to help you get your money in the bag, and it does help. So I guess conclusion is, I'm glad to have a part-time job that's consistent, and I guess I'm glad to be able to work and have that opportunity to make some money. I just hope that gig work can evolve and get better to help those that rely on it, whether they need it or not, that they can keep improving the app for us who do the delivery drivers and continue to use their services for gig work, and those customers that we deliver to make the overall experience for everybody involved better instead of just, I guess, hanging on for a hope that it gets better, that these companies actually do better and try not to cheat their delivery drivers and exploit their customers. Well, here's to hoping. Over and out for now.